and welcome to the Priggya Arora Show, where we discuss entrepreneurship and law with people who have been there and done that. My name is Priggya Arora, founder of PL Legal, an intellectual property law firm in India, and our guest for today is Jarrett Silver, founder of Silver Legal. Let us directly dive into a conversation with him. Hi, Jarrett. How are you doing?
Hi, Priggya. Doing very well. Great to be here, and thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. So let us directly begin by, if you were to introduce yourself at a business meeting, what would you say?
It's a hard question. I mean, I've done a lot of introductions, and I think just kind of honing however you describe yourself for each person, it changes a little bit. But I think right now I call myself a startup attorney and a patent attorney. And so if I had a meeting of entrepreneurs, I'm more on the startup side. If I'm at a meeting of technology folks or whoever, it might be more on the patent side. But you start the conversation, and you kind of see where it goes, and just try to prompt the questions and prompt the right conversation.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Jared, you have worked as an in-house counsel for about, for quite some time. Can you tell us something about what you learned during that period, and how was it for you?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess we'll start a little bit more about myself. After I came out of law school, I worked for a large intellectual property boutique doing patent prosecution. The kind of work where you have a huge docket of work and you're just trying to crank away at that docket, and every day is just kind of trying to meet your deadlines. Then I went in-house to a large multinational medical device company. And there, I kind of was patent attorney plus at the beginning, and then kind of just more general business attorney more towards the end. And it was a lot more, a very different sort of way of looking at things. Your client is, you have one client, but then you have lots of people, lots of interest in your client, all trying to get your time. So you might have 5 different business units, all the different VPs, all demanding your time, and there's no way you could possibly get everything done for everyone. And so the mindset, it's a little bit different. It's a little more chaotic, but it's also a little more fun, a little more variation in your day every day. So in terms of what I've learned from that, I mean, there's a lot of different things. I mean, I think I've sort of learned more about how to give advice to different folks, because I think when you're in the patent prosecution mindset, a lot of your correspondence tends to be in writing. You don't necessarily get that immediate feedback of looking in your client's face all the time, having people just be able to walk in your office anytime as the client, not just, a fellow colleague or attorney walking in your office. And so, I think the communication and the messaging probably improved over time, just kind of being able to look at somebody's face all the time when you're chatting with them.
Yeah, I know it's a different skill in altogether, doing client interactions every day and speaking to people. I think we are not taught it during our legal education and things like that, but that is an important skill in itself, that how to speak to people and how to be on your toes all the time, so that any query could come up and you have to say something about it.
Yeah, and now in the age of Zoom calls and pandemics, we're all probably getting a lot better at being on video and kind of getting that more face to face, which is good. I think good for a lot of folks, and makes folks a lot more accessible. So that's good, and I think that's one of the benefits of sort of that in-house background of kind of being used to that.
Wow, wow, wow. So, Jared, what made you start your own practice, Silver Legal, and how did you think that I should probably quit being an in-house lawyer and start my own legal practice?
Okay, I mean, I was there's different stints of your career, and after being in the patent firm, and then I went in-house. I was there for over 5 years, and there was just sort of a break in my career, and I had to try to figure out what I was going to do next. And I had met with another attorney who kind of had this part-time in-house model for startup clients. And that model was very interesting to me at the time. And so she has maybe 3 or 4 clients at a time, and almost is like on the payroll. So she's working, Mondays for one client, Tuesdays for another client, half a Wednesday for a third client, and then, another day and a half or 2 days for another client. So I hung up my own shingle and kind of saw if I could do that model and, just adapting to what was working for me in terms of marketing in the area I was in. I kind of morphed more instead of having like 3 clients to having many, many, many early stage startup clients. And, and so I tended to do 3 to 4 clients, in the same way. And it just, it worked out differently. And, when you have your own business, you kind of want to pour gasoline on whatever's working, right? And so you just kind of adapt a little bit and kind of keep moving along. And so I ended up being more, instead of this part-time in-house counsel, I would say more of a startup attorney. And then I sort of added on patent services after that, kind of going back to be a little bit more full service for my clients. But so yeah, it was just more, what could I do at the time, and I was in New Jersey at the time, and my hometown is Atlanta, Georgia. And so I moved back home to Atlanta. I had 1 kid and another kid on the way. And so it was just it was a good time to make, a career more about me at the time.
Yeah.
So it worked out, and this was pre-pandemic, and, kind of never rented office space or anything like that. Just sort of have been a virtual attorney, a single person. And it was good. It was interesting building it up. And then in the pandemic, I feel like everybody's doing this now. So it's sort of it's the new business model. I think I was doing it before it was interesting, and I'm not the first to do it by any means.
I know, but I think this pandemic has given a lot of opportunity to people like us who wanted to explore entrepreneurship or starting our own practice, that it has made life easier. Like if I think our grandfathers and, people like them, they used to travel, they used to, even us before pandemic, we used to make clients, we had to travel internationally and do a lot of meetings, conferences, and things like that. Nowadays, it's so easy. Send a Zoom link to anyone and just have a meeting with them or a good conversation with them. That's how we met, and we have worked together, and things have been going good. So I think it has become easier for people now to explore this field, and many people should do that.
Yeah, and props to you for, you initiated this relationship, and so reaching out, I think, with having your own business is half the battle. And so
Yeah.
that was great on your part, and kind of corresponded back and forth, and since then I think I've passed some work to you, and you've sent a client or 2 my way as well. So it just, that's how things start. One reaching out to somebody, and I think props to you for doing it and making that initial reach out.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Jarrett. Now, I think mostly we have audience like young legal professionals who want to know how a normal workday looks like for a person who has just started their practice and things like that. So would you tell us what your normal workday look like, and what are the 3 things that probably you do in a normal workday?
Okay, I mean, I think I'd hesitate, kind of like that in-house mindset a little bit, hesitate to call any day normal. I mean, every day, whatever my deadlines are, that whatever the client needs are, is kind of what dictates my day more than my sort of choice. Obviously my caffeine intake in the morning is probably in order every day, but for the most part, I have an interesting sort of dynamic, because I'm sort of part startup attorney, part patent attorney. And when you're in the middle of a patent application, you need to have your blinders on, right? And
Yeah.
so you have to be just very, very focused on one thing without distractions in some ways. And then other kinds of things, it's like email back and forth, and you're having a live conversation on email with somebody, and it's a very different conversation, then you've got phone calls interrupting. So every day is a little bit different. It really depends on what I'm working on and, whether I'm in control of my schedule that day too, right? You don't always know what's going to come in. But I don't know. I would say, I work from home. Pre-pandemic, I was going to lots of networking stuff, just trying to meet folks and build my business. Sorry about that. Build my business and things like that. Trying to figure out what's working in terms of marketing and communications and things like that. But for the most part, nowadays it's a little bit more on autopilot, the business, in the sense that I haven't been going to any meetings during the pandemic. I don't spend, I think you're a lot better than I am about reaching out to folks. And so I haven't done that, but I have enough referrals and, website traffic and stuff like that, that it kind of keeps me going. And so I've got enough work. As a one person firm, I'm able to kind of coast a little bit on the marketing efforts. It's probably, when I get around to it, I've got, things I want to do and work on and, improve my website or try out different things to see if I can figure out new ways of client generation. But, for now, it's been working.
Wow.
So in terms of, let's see, so 3 things I do every day. I don't know. It's hard to say. Other than sitting in front of the computer and, just lots of emails and communications and phone calls and things like that. I can't say it's the same 3 things every day. I think it's probably every day is a little different.
Yeah. Every day, it depends on what kind of case we're working on, what kind of clients we have, what kind of phone calls we have on that
Right.
day. Things like that.
Right. There's days where you don't have anything on the schedule that is urgent. And so you can kind of choose your own reality that day, but that's not that often. Most days, you have to try to work towards your client's needs and and every client, wants to be your number one. You want to treat them like they're your number one, right? But there's not always time because you've got multiple demands, pulling on your bandwidth. So you got to, make the best of it.
Perfect. So, Jarrett, I understand that, being a startup or like a law firm owner, even if you're a single firm, one person firm. So we all struggle with procrastination and lack of motivation and things like that. From where does your motivation come that probably you have built up your practice in such a manner that it is on autopilot mode now? So from where do you build up your build up your motivation, or whenever you start procrastinating something, what do you do? How do you handle that?
I have no shortage of distractions. I work from home I've got young kids at home, although they're in school now. My wife works from home. I have a new pandemic dog, right? So plenty of things that kind of distract me, and it's just really, a matter. I think, a lot of we talked about earlier, just have client imposed deadlines that maybe you're expecting or maybe you're not expecting, fires that need to be put out. So a lot of that drives my time on a daily basis on what I do. If there's definitely times where, I'm guilty of, looking at LinkedIn too much or, or messing around, when I shouldn't be. And so I'm human like everyone else in terms of procrastination. I'm sure it happens plenty. I get distracted. But at the end of the day, it's like I've got enough pulling on my time that I can't screw around too much.
Yeah.
Folks need things from me, and if I don't, then they're gonna get mad at me. So
it's good that we can give our accountability to our clients and probably our teams as well, whoever person is there in our life, so that when we have that accountability, we do not have any option to procrastinate.
yeah, a little bit. I think a little bit is good. We're not robots. Maybe the robots will take over at some point, but right now we're not robots. We're humans, and so I think there's some natural,
Yeah.
non-consistency of our days.
So Jarrett, how about what do you like about working with startups, and what is it like for you working with the startups?
I mean, I think I've always liked, helping the little guy out in a way. I mean, I think there's aspects of probably, your legal career might be easier working with like one or two or three big clients, than to work with like, startups who maybe there's a limited amount of money they have to pay for their attorneys. They haven't really figured out their business all the time yet. And so I enjoy helping out. And I think a lot of it is sort of that one-on-one, just kind of interaction that they need your help. And I think that's, it's appreciated that, you really can make a difference to these companies. And, so it's kind of the same thing with a solo inventor in the same, or early stage startup, to some extent. And they're coming to you. I mean, hopefully some folks, this isn't the first time they've done any of this stuff. But, you're able to kind of help them almost, it's probably a little bit more like being a consultant a little bit more, in the sense that you're kind of sharing best practices more than like reinventing new areas of law.
Yeah.
And so, I could tell the client more, maybe what they should be doing, or, and obviously tailoring it to their needs. I mean, every situation, at least I treat it differently for every client. So finding out, hearing them, just having this one-on-one back and forth conversation with them. So that's kind of what I think I enjoy about working with startups. And then I have, there's sort of the generalist versus sort of PhD or specialist mindset, where you do one thing really, really well. And career-wise, being a specialist probably pays off more, because you can really just optimize all your systems around that, just, be known as the expert in one specific area. But like I get bored with any one thing, right? So I like being a little bit more scattered in terms of my day-to-day. And I think having a lot more smaller startup clients that are doing lots of different things that are interesting, I think that makes it a little more interesting for me. And vice versa. I also go from the startup to the patent side, and just kind of having to keep up in, all those different spheres. It keeps things a little more interesting, for more learning on my side.
I think you have beautifully explained like being a specialist is like you can get paid well, but I think having a client base that is scattered is something which can drive us every day, and we have different kind of startups, different types of invention to look at, and which gives us a space to probably our brain to create more things and be innovative and find a right legal strategy for a startup client and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think you chose a profession as well that, being a patent attorney,
Yeah.
there's always learning, especially on the science side. The law is constantly changing. So there's a lot of learning already built into being a patent attorney, which is great. And if you enjoy that, why not learn more about more areas,
Yeah, definitely. I think for every lawyer, this learning is very, very important, because we have so many laws, and especially if we are practicing IP, in every country law is different, in every country practice is different, and we need to get the inventions protected in many countries, and then we have to learn the processes there, we have to interact with attorneys from there, and things go by this. So I think learning curve is there for every lawyer. If you are a lawyer, you have to learn throughout your life, and we have to be okay with it, and we have to enjoy the learning process.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's, I don't know, if you're doing patent prosecution, it's even, it's built in. As much as it is for any other lawyer, but I think there's a lot of just, you're always exposed to things you're not familiar with.
Yes.
By definition. And so you have to appreciate that part of the work.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jarrett, can you now share some key takeaways for our listeners who are young legal practitioners and probably want to start their own practice or be advanced in their legal careers? So can you share some key takeaways for them?
Okay, sure. I mean, so with, I guess, starting your practice, I'm not really one of the folks that think you should go straight out of law school and start a practice. I mean, you should try to get some experience first. Just because reinventing the wheel and trying to figure out everything from scratch when it's already really a well-paved path, you might as well have somebody else pay you a salary and get some experience and get some credibility before you start your practice. So, but once you start your practice, it's a business like any other, and I think you kind of have to. We talked earlier about kind of pouring gasoline on what is working, or start whatever the. If there's some aspect of your business that's working and some of that is not, assuming you want to go in that direction, you're kind of creating an opportunity by pushing more in that area. So, like I went from, the 3 to 4 client model to like a many client model. And so that's what was working for me at that moment in time. Maybe, as things change in the future, maybe I go back towards the other direction, who knows? But it's just, you can kind of design, especially if you're a small firm like mine, where it's revolved around one person, you can kind of change things based on your own interest, and and also adapt very easily and quickly. So that's what's good, I think, about it. In terms of other takeaways, we were talking about young lawyers who started their own practices.
Yes.
I mean, I would say do what Priggya does in terms of building your network and be very proactive about reaching out to folks. I think there's plenty of folks that are either happy to help or happy to work with you in some way if it's possible. And so just, I think, initiating those conversations with different people around the world is definitely very helpful. And it really, half the trouble is asking. It's not necessarily needing people to open the door for you, but it's just reaching out to ask somebody. And I think that's half the trouble, and it pays off.
Wow. So I would say, I'll try to reiterate this. So get credibility in, I'll just modify it a bit. I think get credibility in one area. That is absolutely important to give you a right push. So if you have credibility in one area, you can be, satisfied that even if you do not build credibility in other areas, at least you will get paid well in one area. So it can be your expertise in any area. So have that credibility, reach out to people, network with more people, and probably just start with whatever you want to start, and there is no looking back. So
I would agree with that, especially I mean, talking about credibility. We talked about specialist versus generalist, but you still, you're going to have your own practice. People need to reach out to you for a reason. You can choose to sort of expand from there, but having some reason that somebody is choosing you over everybody else, it's good to have that credibility. And I think a lot of a lawyer's career is building credibility over time. We're in the age of online reviews where, this Google kind of reviews of people. And right now that's working, right? That you get your 5-star review from a client and, that counts for something, gives you some credibility. That may not work in the future, but right now it's working. And so, treat every client like, you're worthy of a 5-star review. And I think it'll pay off in the short term also.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Jarrett, for your time. It was wonderful speaking with you all again. And thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thanks again for having me. I appreciated the time being on. And if you need anything, please reach out. And anyhow, nice to speak with you, and I look forward to hearing more. And I was looking at your podcast list. I actually want to go back and listen to a lot of the podcasts because you got some interesting guests on here.
Thank you so much. I'll be glad to give me feedback so that I can improve.
All right, well, take care.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Hey there, thank you for attending today's session. If you enjoyed today's conversation, do follow our channel and consider sharing it with a friend. My name is Priggya Arora, daughter of inspiring parents, alumna of IIT Kharagpur, engineer turned lawyer and entrepreneur, and now founder of PL Legal, where we help creators and innovators protect their intellectual property. Thank you.